It's time to mind your business with me, Jamillah Lodge. Tune in to find out how to mind your business with BEDC, special guest entrepreneurs, industry experts, and more. Brought to you by BEDC. Bermuda Business starts here. Good afternoon, Khomeini. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks. Thanks for the invitation.
No, I'm glad that you're here. We're here today on Mind Your Business, and we're going to be talking about you and your company that you started.
Yes.
But before we do that, I want you to just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. My name's Khomeini Taalib-Din.
Okay.
I'm the founder of Best Buds Limited. We plan on being a cannabis dispensary here on Island once the proper legislation gets approved. Mm-hmm. Before I was in this space, I have a background in sales and insurance underwriting, and as well as risk management.
Okay. Insurance and risk management, that's different than a cannabis dispensary. So tell me, what happened in between to get you to where you are today?
Well, when I was working in the office, I didn't love insurance.
Yeah.
I kind of stumbled into the role.
Okay.
I was there for 9 years.
Okay.
And I educated myself in insurance to try to make the best of the time while I was there. Mm-hmm. But I didn't grow to love it.
Okay.
And I found more happiness being my own boss, mm-hmm. working for myself.
Mm-hmm. So what other kinds of things did you do? Because, like you said, this is cannabis dispensary. There's legislation that has to happen before. So what did you do in the in-between? What other kinds of entrepreneurial endeavors did you have?
Well, I purchased myself a taxi.
Okay.
And I built an apartment onto my house for some extra income. And after finishing the apartment, I continued with a little maintenance mini renovation construction company.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm keeping busy.
Yeah, keeping busy. So what was the catalyst to make you say cannabis dispensary, especially given that it's not technically legal here in Bermuda? Right. What made you decide on that?
Well, in Bermuda, cannabis use is cultural.
Yeah.
For decades. My mama talked about how prevalent cannabis use was when she was coming up. Mm-hmm. And in Bermuda, there's a couple things that give me an idea of the potential for a dispensary here.
Right.
The first thing is that, generally, even though that cannabis is popular here, it's the most popular drug here, the quality standard is very low.
Right.
Generally, we overpay for weed that isn't very good. And the other part of it is that our population, we're not really educated on cannabis. Mm-hmm. So my company, I see the opportunity for us to educate the population, advocate for policy reforms, mm-hmm. and provide customers with products that they can enjoy.
It's interesting because as the rest of the world, some areas have legalized it, there's legislation around it, there are dispensaries everywhere, and it does actually create economic opportunity, I think, for individuals, but also for the actual country or the state or wherever it is. Yes. It creates a new source of income. So from that standpoint, I do think that there's huge opportunity there. Is that were you thinking of that also when you were thinking about starting Best Buds?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, money's never far from it, when you're starting a business. But you had said something. I was going to jump on it.
Yeah. Which one about the economic opportunity for the country?
Economic opportunity for the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because cannabis is the most popular drug in Bermuda, we send millions of dollars abroad to purchase illegal weed and smuggle it here. Mm-hmm. Once the cannabis industry is started here and we have local production...
We is like a kind of it's an open term. It's not we.
No, Bermuda, sorry. Once Bermuda... rolls out the cannabis industry.
Yeah.
First thing, one of the short-term benefits is going to be more money in the economy. It's going to be less money being sent abroad. Mm-hmm. We're going to attract more tourist dollars, and also there's more employment opportunities, mm-hmm. because we have people working in the illegal market now.
Yeah.
But there's people working in the industry now. They can't get health insurance or no benefits, mm-hmm. for the work that they do. Mm-hmm. So once the proper legislation rules, or it's going to be benefits all around.
All around. I would agree with you. I think, unfortunately, there's a negative perception or negative connotation associated with it. And I think largely it's because it's considered illegal. But, I mean, you have other things that people do that are legal that you're like, well, what are, the effects of that? This is a natural kind of produce. It grows from the earth or whatever. And it's been used, I would say, for centuries historically until such time as it was made illegal or whatever. And it's still used, right? People don't want to talk about it, but it gets here some kind of way. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the idea that it is no legislation. It is not legal. So for you with Best Buds, and what is it that you're doing now to ready yourself for the eventuality of it being legalized or legislation being approved here?
Well, I'm keeping very busy.
Okay.
I'm making use. Well, I'm using my social media.
Okay.
To again educate and advocate for cannabis reform. And also I am furthering my education.
Okay.
I've been going to cannabis conferences, taking courses online, doing a ton of reading, making all kinds of international contacts from people who have cannabis businesses all around the world.
Right.
So I'm making the right connections and better positioning myself to take advantage of the opportunity once everything falls in place.
That makes sense. So, like, once everything, fingers crossed, everything goes to plan. Once everything does, you can hit the ground running, right? As opposed to playing catch up and all of that, which makes sense to me. So, CBD is a derivative, right? Am I getting that right now? I'm not the expert, but
yes.
And so that is legal. You can use CBD products. I know from my old knees, I put CBD, oil and ointment on it. I'm dating myself now, but that is a legal space. Have you ever considered doing that, or is your primary focus just on the actual weed product or THC product?
Okay, in the beginning, I was really just focused on the high THC cannabis. Yeah. Because that's what we use here in Bermuda. Yeah. That is the most popular form of cannabis. Yeah. Even where medical cannabis is legal, you still see that recreational cannabis sales outnumber medical cannabis sales.
How do they get that information? Anyway, never mind that question. But it's just something that popped in my head. I'm like, how do you know if it's not something that you track formally, right?
I guess in these states, people have medical cards. Yeah. They probably register, as their prescription or something like that. Yeah. But
can you do that here with the medical cannabis?
I'm not 100% sure. Right. But on the CBD, it's a little complicated. I'm going to touch on the education piece. Yeah. Because CBD is a cannabinoid. Yes. It's found in cannabis and it's found in hemp. Yes. Now, the CBD flower, the CBD bud that's being sold here, that's actually hemp. Yes. And the difference between hemp and cannabis is that hemp is the amount of THC that's in the plant. Got you. Hemp is when the amount of THC is less than 0.3%. That's when it's hemp. Cannabis is when it's over 1% THC. Starting at 1%, that's low THC cannabis. But however, on the CBD, cannabis has a higher percentage of CBD and other cannabinoids than hemp. Okay. The hemp that's being sold here is hemp, and then it's being sprayed with something. Science. You know how man is with science, and we've really broken down the cannabis plant, right? So what's happening now? You've got all these lab-created cannabinoids, HHC, THCO, THCP, Delta 8, Delta 10, Delta 9O. The long and short of it is that they can manipulate the compounds from hemp in a laboratory and make it into other compounds that are similar to THC, but as long as it's not THC, it's legal. Got you. So that's why we have this influx of all these new products coming out. They're saying that they're a replacement for THC, they're just as strong, they're just as satisfying for THC, but there are some concerns about the products because
it's kind of chemically altered or man-made, right?
One of the things is that one of the chemicals that they use to make some of these these semi-synthetic cannabinoids is a product. It's the same chemical they use to turn opium into heroin.
Got you.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, why not just let the natural plant thrive and let us?
Well, I'm sure that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to touch on that. People aren't sure of what they're putting in their bodies.
That's true, yeah.
This information that I just shared, most people don't know it.
And that's where the education component comes into play, right?
Yes.
So, okay. So in terms of what it is that you plan to do with Best Buds as a dispensary, are you sourcing your is the plan to source it from somewhere else, or do you have the means to grow your own? Like how does that whole thing work?
Well, the plan is to be producing a certain amount here locally.
Okay.
But I do expect to be very busy.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to have a supplemental supply of cannabis coming from overseas as well.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of different places where you can get cannabis.
Yeah.
Everyone's got different quality standards.
That's true.
But my thing is that I'm going to be, because I'm educated about the plant.
Yeah.
And I'm passionate about the plant.
Yeah.
I feel really good about my chances to provide a better product here on island.
And like you said, you're spending the time now to make those contacts so
Yes.
that once legislation is approved and all of that, then you have the ability to hit the ground running. Now you are, and we met you because you applied to our Enterprise Bermuda incubator program,
Yes.
which you are in. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. And why did you apply to the program?
Well, I thought that being in the government program, that is...
Well, we're quasi-government, so...
Okay. Well, being in this program, I felt would offer me a lot of insight,
Okay.
a lot of knowledge, and access to resources that can really help me take my business to the next level.
Right.
Help me to be better prepared. Since I've been in this program, I've learned about some of the responsibilities of running a business. Mm-hmm. Having access to the mentors and the coaches have helped me to pivot and adapt my plan.
Okay.
And also is, to me, being in this program, being accepted into this program and getting the feedback from everybody has helped to legitimize my business plan for having a cannabis dispensary here.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's not like you're coming up with some brand new idea because it's happening in other places, right? So it's like you do have sort of a blueprint, if you will, of what it could be, and you can see what it looks like on the other side.
Yes.
It's just that we have to do what we have to do in terms of getting approvals and making sure everything is here locally. Now, I have a question to ask you because a lot of this is dependent on if approvals are granted. So what happens in the worst case scenario, because I'm a worst case scenario kind of planner,
Right.
if what you anticipate happening doesn't happen? What if it is not approved, or it is approved so far down the line? What happens to Best Buds, or what are you going to do in the meantime?
Well, it's something that I'm passionate about. Cannabis is a genuine interest of mine. I'll continue to use Best Buds as to advocate and educate the public. Mm-hmm. And I tend to think positively. I think it's inevitable that it's going to happen.
Me too.
So I'm just got to wait it out.
Okay.
I'm just got to wait it out, man.
I am not mad at that. I am a glass half full kind of girl.
Yes.
But I also like to say, have your plan Bs or whatever. And somebody told me once that if you have a plan B, you already have set your mind up that plan A isn't going to work.
Yeah, yes.
I don't know about that, but I feel you. So you're like, yes,
I'm
this is going to work.
in it.
You're manifesting it. You're putting it in out there.
I'm going to make it happen.
Okay, well, I'm not mad at that. I'm hoping that it does come to fruition because, like I said, I can see how it could be a benefit to the economy. But there are so many people, like you said, it's the perception of it. And I think especially in Bermuda where people are just so used to it being wrong how do you overcome that?
Well, I don't think in Bermuda, I have a different view. I don't think in Bermuda it's so many people who think that it's wrong because the use here is cultural.
Yeah.
And, generally, if your mama don't smoke weed, she's okay if you smoking it on the porch.
Right.
That's how it is in Bermuda.
Okay.
So what was the question?
No, I was just saying, like, how do you overcome the cultural perception, not the cultural perception, but the
It's
perception
politics.
that it's not good or it's not right. I think, we can be kind of conservative.
Yes.
If you compare us to other island nations.
Mm-hmm.
And so having to navigate the whole idea of, okay, oh God, now it's a gateway drug. That's what people say, right?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, again, education.
Yeah, I agree.
You got to present people with the facts, with the history. Point out that when it was made illegal back in the 1930s, they never did any research on it.
Right.
It was a political move.
Yeah.
Money was behind it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
and to be honest, a lot of those decisions are made on the basis of that. It's like, well, I want to do this, so I need to do this to ensure that there's no competition and all that kind of stuff. So,
and if you think about the human body, we have an endocannabinoid system that is very receptive to the compounds that are found in the cannabis plant.
Right.
So that speaks to the thousands of years that humans have been using cannabis.
Yeah.
So it's to a degree it's part of our makeup.
Yeah.
The use as far as it being used in societies all around the world.
Right.
So this little 100 years, 80 years of it being illegal is really just a small drop in the bucket.
Right.
As far as the history the humans have had with cannabis.
Okay. All right. Well, you heard it here. So I'm hopeful that everything works out in your favor, right? Because like I said, I can see where it can be beneficial to you, of course, but also to the country. To the country,
yes.
Right? Getting that income in. We want tourists to come in. Tourists go to places where it's legal specifically for that. So that's a way that we can also improve kind of who comes into the island and that kind of thing. And then, of course, once it's legislated, then you have the opportunity to put in regulations and monitor and do all of these things. So, I don't know. I think, like you said, it's a matter of time. It's not like we're doing anything that hasn't been done already. So precedent has been set in other parts of the world. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And in the meantime, you continue to get yourself ready. Is there anything, like you said, entrepreneurship for you is something that, I don't know, it seemed innate. Like, did you grow up with entrepreneurs or?
Yes. Well, my father had a painting business.
Okay.
But I think what really motivated me was wanting to take my family to the next level.
Okay.
And, I picked up some years ago that I wasn't going to make the money that I knew I could, that I knew I was worth working for somebody else. And so branching out, starting my own business, being my own boss, that provides the best opportunity for me to do the best I can.
So for those who are considering entrepreneurship, maybe in the cannabis industry, maybe not, what would you say to them who... Because I think it's risky, right? Being an entrepreneur.
Yes.
It's risky.
It's not for everybody.
No, it's not for everybody. So for those who might be considering it and who are unsure, what would you say to them?
Be prepared. Actually,
you wrote it down. Okay.
I wrote it down.
I
wrote it down. Let me just find my notes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, entrepreneurship, don't expect it to be easy. Even if it's a good idea and the time is right, there's a lot of work.
Yeah.
There's going to be so many different hats you have to wear, from being a laborer and run the run, admin, business management, marketing. There's so many different roles. And you may also... There may be times where where you can't find support from the people around you.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it's a lonely journey as well.
Yeah.
But it takes an obsessive commitment to seeing your vision become a reality, and that's going to motivate you through the ups and downs of entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I like that. I like the fact that you said obsessive commitment because it it is almost like you said, like you're in a space that currently is not legal. So you have to be obsessed about actually seeing it through, because, you know, you have your setbacks, and it really is dependent on what actually happens with the law. So if you're not committed, you can get you can go off track. Discouraged. You can get discouraged. So I definitely think that that's good advice. And I do think that people should go into it eyes wide open.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Because it's not easy. It seems like it could be. People romanticize the idea of entrepreneurship. You look at people who are winning, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's gonna be me. I'm gonna be my own boss. I'm gonna do that. But it actually takes hard work, dedication, and almost an obsessive type of commitment to what it is that you want this business to be and to grow into.
For sure. It's something you gotta take it seriously. Once you walk away from your job and you didn't have that steady paycheck anymore, you know, it's all on you.
You gotta eat.
Yeah, you gotta eat. Yeah.
And if you have children and all of that, you gotta still take care of them. So you have to do it. But I think one of the good things about it is, like you said, you're working for yourself, and you determine how high or how far you go.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that, to me, is what is most it's the most intriguing about entrepreneurship, is you get to command your own destiny. So as hard as you work, or as much as you put into it, is as much as you can get out of it.
And the rewards are like nothing else.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. It's I'm not going back to the office.
Okay. All right. I understand that. So I wish you all the best. Thank you for coming on to Mind Your Business and talking a little bit about your journey, which is fascinating. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the progression of it, right? So even after the program ends, the incubator program, we are still here.
Yes.
That's what BEDC does. We support businesses. So whether you're in the program or not, you can always come to us and get support that you need. So thank you again for sharing some of your...
And perhaps once I open up, I can come back and let you know a little more about you know how things have transpired.
Yes, I would love that. That'd
be great.
All right. Thank you for coming on Mind Your Business. And you know what we say? If you don't mind your business, who will?
Nobody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Only you can do that.
Yes.
I can't do it. Only you can do it. All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks for tuning in to Mind Your Business with me, your host, Jamillah Lodge. Tune in next week, Thursday at 4 p.m. because if you don't mind your business, who will? Mind Your Business is brought to you by BEDC. Bermuda Business starts here.